Hi, I'm Tasha from One Big Happy Life on behalf of the Financial Diet, and this is the Lifestyle Fix brought to you by SKILLSHARE. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing 8 strategies to help you stop buying things that you don't need. Now, when it comes to deciding what your financial priorities are and which things are worth the money, there's no one right answer. As the old saying goes, one person's trash is another person's treasure. But given that 38% of Americans have credit card debt and overspending certainly contributes to that, it's also really important to be conscious about where you're spending your money and avoiding spending it on things that don't truly matter to you. All right, so let's get into those tips. Tip number 1. Have a spending plan. A spending plan, aka a budget, allows you to decide in advance exactly where you want your money to go instead of wondering where your money went at the end of the month. By planning out your spending beforehand, you'll have a firm idea of exactly how much money you're working with that month. Then you can decide what you want to do with that money. Your spending plan should include both fixed expenses, like your housing and transportation costs, and it should also include planned discretionary spending, like clothing, shopping, travel, and entertainment. Now, I recommend creating a 1-year spending plan so you can budget for expenses that you know are coming later on in the year. If you don't have a 1-year spending plan yet, and believe me, it will change your financial life, you can put one together in just 15 minutes. Head over to onebighappylife.com/budget to download your free budget template. When you create a spending plan that's aligned with your financial goals and priorities, you decide in advance what you're going to spend your money on, which means it's that much easier to say no to the random things that come up during the month that don't mesh with your plan. Tip number 2, have a needs and wants list. Impulse spending can really throw off your spending plan. Enter the needs and wants list, a simple yet effective way at cutting back on unplanned expenses. The way this works is that whenever the thought comes into your head that you need or want to buy something, instead of acting on that urge and potentially busting your budget, write the item down on your needs and wants lists. This list can be digital or paper, but I recommend having both the needs and the wants together if possible, but divided into separate columns. Then, as you're planning your spending for the month, you can prioritize your needs and wants and set aside money to purchase the items in advance. Tip number 3, have a 30-day cooling off period. When we get the urge to buy something, it can be really hard to resist, but it does get easier over time and with practice. The great thing about a 30-day cooling off period is that you don't have to tell yourself a hard no. Instead, you're saying, just not right now, but soon. Put the item in your virtual cart and set a date in your calendar to come back to the item in 15 to 30 days. And in the meantime, use that extra time you've bought yourself to plan for the purchase in your spending plan when the time comes. Taking some time to let the urge to buy something wear off is a great way to cut back on buying things that you don't really need. If you still actually want the item at the end of the waiting period, and I bet more often than not, you won't actually find yourself wanting the item as much as you thought you did at the time. But if you do, then you'll have the money to purchase the item. Tip number 4, do a no spend month. So much of what we do on a day-to-day basis is entirely based on habit. When it's a good habit, like brushing your teeth as part of your bedtime ritual, well, these habits help us build the kind of life that we want, like going into old age with most or all of our teeth. But when it's a bad habit, like a daily latte habit that causes you to bust your budget and rack up credit card debt month over month, then you'll want to reset that habit and replace it with a better one. Now, don't get me wrong, there's absolutely nothing wrong with your daily latte if you've planned for it in your budget. We're talking about unplanned, habitual spending here. One of the best ways to reset your spending habits is by calling it quits on spending for a month. A no-spend month helps you confront your spending impulses when they happen and consciously choose something other than indulging in spending. At the end of the month, you might find that you don't even miss things that you used to automatically spend money on out of habit. Tip number 5, join a buy nothing group. A great way to stop spending money on things that you don't need is to get them for free instead. Buy nothing groups are great sources for things that we might not technically need, but would still love to have. For example, Maybe you're looking to add a new board game to your rotation, but buying a new game isn't in your spending plan for a while. Check out your local Buy Nothing group to see if someone's offering a new to you game that you've been dying to play. Other similar options would be going to the library to borrow books, games, magazines, or other items, or to swap items with a friend. This type of swapping is great for your wallet and for the environment. Tip number 6, declutter your space. For me, nothing makes me not want to buy things like spending time regularly decluttering my home. Going through items that I thought I needed to buy over the years and recognizing how little I actually used them is sobering. Visual clutter increases our stress, so taking time to declutter is worth it for the peace of mind alone. But it's also a great preventative for the next time you're thinking of going all in on a new hobby and acquiring all the shiny new gadgets and supplies that go along with it on a whim. Not to mention that the more time you spend cleaning and decluttering, the less idle time you'll have to contemplate spending on something new. Now, the one caveat with decluttering is that sometimes it inspires us to implement a whole new organizational system in our new space, complete with bins, boxes, and cute labels, all of which cost money. If your brain starts pining for organizational supplies, just add them to your needs and wants list so you can plan to purchase them in the future. Tip number 7, practice gratitude. Taking time to be grateful for and to appreciate the things that you already have is a great practice generally, but it can also help you curb impulsive spending and stop buying those things that you don't actually need. Focusing on all of the wonderful things that you already have in your life will give you an emotional boost that can counteract that urge to overspend. Over time, reinforcing a feeling of contentment about your life as it is now will make it less likely that you'll feel the urge to buy things that you don't actually need and don't add value to your life because you'll already be happy where you are. Tip number 8, figure out what you really want out of your life. This one is actually my favorite tip of them all because I am all about spending for the life that you want. And I found that one of the best ways to stop spending on the things that you don't need, in other words, things that don't actually add value to your life, is to know exactly what a good life looks like for you. It's all too easy to get caught up in what society, advertisements, our friends, or social media tells us that a good life looks like, and then spending our money on things that don't actually matter to us. So I encourage you to have regular check-ins with yourself and really think about what's important to you, what a good life looks like, and which purchases are worth it to you. Now that we've covered 8 simple strategies that will help you be more intentional with your spending, let's talk about a great place to learn some new things. SKILLSHARE. SKILLSHARE is an online learning community with thousands of classes in design, business, technology, and more. Premium membership gives you unlimited access to high-quality classes on essential topics, so you can improve your skills, unlock new opportunities, and do the work you love. Looking to grow your social media skills so you can start a side hustle as a social media manager or just grow your online influence? Check out Brian Peters' class, Introduction to Social Media Strategy, where he teaches you how to craft a social media strategy that will help you drive business goals and foster authentic connections with your target audience. Click the link in the description box to join the millions of students already learning on Skillshare today and to take advantage of a special offer just for TFD viewers and get 2 months of unlimited access to over 25,000 classes for free. Act now so you don't miss out and start learning today. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and tune in here every single Friday for another new episode of The Lifestyle Fix. See you next week.